going to demonstrate today how to run the OTT MF Pro flow meter. This is going to be a review for people who have already been using this flow meter before. And we are out on a day when we haven't had rain in a while, so we are going to be taking a measurement during Baseflow conditions. So I have my flow meter connected. I have the sensor connected at the bottom. The monitor is connected with this connector material right here. Okay, I have my cross section set up on the downstream side of the culvert, and the water is flowing at an even perpendicular to the cross section and my tape measure. I picked the downstream side of this culvert because it has a good what we call control structures, so that none of the water escapes around the edge of the two edges, because the culvert controls that water. And the bed of the river here has no large rocks or boulders, and water again is flowing even and straight. So this is an ideal place to take a base flow measurement with your flow meter. Okay, we're going to determine how wide our stream is so that we can figure out how many stations we're going to take velocity measurements at. The tape measure starts at 6 feet. You don't have to have your tape measure start at 0. It can start at any point on the tape. It goes to 14.5 feet. So we'll round that off to 14 feet. So 6 minus 14 is 8. We'll try and put a measurement every half a foot. So we'll have 16 measurements total. And so that'll be 16 stations across the cross section. The minimum number we want to have on this would be 10, and the maximum number you would want to have would be 30. And you don't want your stations to be spaced any closer than 0.2 of a foot. And again, when you're using the tape measure, you want to make sure you're using the side of the tape measure that has 0.1 of a foot, not inches. Okay, first thing we're going to do is turn on the flow meter by pressing the button in the upper left hand corner, and it's going to run through a series of tests, and this will be the screen that shows you when it passes those tests. Now, something really important are the 2 dots up in the upper right hand corner. You want both those dots to be not blinking. The dot on the left should be green and solid, and the dot on the right should be solid as well. Right now it's hollow because it's out of the water. Now, if your screen darkens, press any button to bring the light back on. So now that both of my dots up in the right hand corner are not flashing, I can press the OK button. It will take me to this main menu where I'll scroll down to Profiler, enter the operator name. That's going to be my name, and I'll use the letter and number keys to key in the first initial of my first name, and then my last name. And there I'll press OK, and we'll come to the Profiler menu where you're going to select Stream. Stream should already be highlighted, so just press the OK button. Now it's going to ask you for the stream name. I am currently on what's called the Isherwood Lateral, and the date today is the 21st of May. So I'm going to just put key in Ish 521. That helps me to determine what day and where I was at. And if you make a mistake, just press this cross and it'll take you back to where you started, so I can push in IS. Now your next screen is enter the stage reference. We don't have a stage reference on this stream, so you can skip this step, so press OK. Now we are at the screen that shows Station 1. Station 1 is going to be the edge of the water. You want to type in what side of the water you're on. So highlighted first is on the top of the screen is edge obstruction. Press OK. It wants to know what side of the stream you're starting on. And it's asking for either the right or left side. We determine which side that is by facing downstream. And when you're facing downstream, that is, if we're going to start on this side of the water, that would mean that we're starting on the right side. So I scroll up to right and I select OK. Down to distance to vertical. And this is where you determine where on the tape measure your edge of the stream is at. Now on this cross section, our tape measure, the edge of the water falls at 6 feet. So I'm going to enter that in just by typing 6 and then press OK. Now, the next option you have is to set the depth. On this cross section, our depth will be 0, but on some cross sections where you have a 90-degree angle on the side of the bank to the bed, you'll actually have a depth. Okay, in this stream, the edge of the water is perpendicular to the bed of the stream. It's very close to a 90-degree angle. So here we would measure a depth. I also want to set the depth here because I've determined that I have a 90-degree angle from my bank to the bed of the river. It's not perfect, but it's more accurate to say that it's a 90-degree angle here than it is to say that there is no depth here, or it's a depth of 0. So my depth of water on the edge of this side is 1 foot. So I'll enter in 1, press OK. It's going to ask me for an edge factor. An edge factor is just the roughness of the bank. Use your best estimation here. 9 is smooth, 5 is real rough. I'm going to give this a roughness factor or an edge factor of 7. So when you have that situation, you want to enter a depth. It's automatically set at 0, but if you have a depth, you want to enter it here. We do not, so we will keep that at 0. Press OK. Now your edge of water measurement will not have a velocity measurement. So this is all the information you need to put in at this point. So even if you go down to measure velocity and press OK, it'll tell you velocity is 0 at the edge. So you can't take a velocity measurement here even if you want to. So what we'll do now is we'll scroll down till next is highlighted, and we'll press OK, and we'll be at station 2, which will be our first station where we'll take a velocity measurement. Now this is where we'll want to move ourselves over to, because we determined we were going to put a station every half of a foot, we're going to move our flow meter to 6.5 on the tape measure. So in distance to vertical is highlighted in station 2. Press OK, and we'll put in 6.5. Now we're going to have to set the depth. Okay, in order to measure depth using your wading rod, you're going to use this thicker rod, and on this rod there are lines, either single lines, double lines, or triple lines. The single lines represent 1/10 of a foot. The double lines represent a half a foot, and the triple lines represent 1 foot. So if you had a water depth of 1.1 feet, you would be one line above this triple, a single line above the triple line. And that's how you would measure depth with your wading rod. Okay, here we're going to enter flow depth, and I've determined that the depth of the water here is about 4.5 feet. Oh, I'm sorry, 0.45 feet, not 4.5. That's a big difference. So I type in 0.45, press OK. Oh, after you've got the depth, after you have the depths set, go to measure velocity. You're going to put in 1 point, because we're only taking one velocity measurement within the column of water. That depth is going to be at 6/10. So you just press OK. And now on this screen, your depth sensor on your flow meter will help you to adjust the height of your sensor. So you adjust your sensor by moving this rod up and down. So you'll be moving this rod up and down by pressing this and moving that. And as you adjust it, green is where you want to be. Anything outside, if it's yellow or if it's red, you're too far outside of where your sensor needs to be at. So it's beeped at us and it's in green, so we are at a good spot to take the velocity measure. You want to be standing about 1.5 feet behind, so you're not creating turbulence behind your depth sensor. And you want to hold your wading rod as perpendicular to the water as you can, so that it's straight up and down. And once you have that, hold it nice and steady, press OK, and you will notice that it starts to capture the velocity measurement. During this time, you just stay nice and still. Try not to move around a lot. At 100% means that the velocity measurement is done. Press OK. You will see that next to the 6/10 measure is a check mark. That means that its measurement was taken. And you press OK. And then you'll be sent back to this main menu, the station menu, where you'll press next is highlighted, and you'll just press OK. And now you're on to station number 3. So we're going every 1/2 foot. So we're moving to location 7 foot on the tagline. Press OK. Set the depth, 0.52. Press OK. Scroll down, select measure velocity. Select 1 point. Press OK to push 6 point, to have it at 0.6 depth. And then adjust your wading rod till it's in the green and at the proper height. Once this is done, press OK to capture. We are at our last station on our cross section, and we want to define the other edge. So we will pick edge obstruction, select OK. And because the other side of the river looking downstream was the right side, this side of the river is the left side. Scroll up and select left and press OK. Now scroll down to distance to vertical, press OK. And the water in the stream ends on this cross section at about 13 13.9 feet. So we'll put in 13, type in 13.9, press OK. Now we can go down to set depth, but the water comes up. There's not a 90-degree angle on the side of the bank down to the stream bed. There is no depth on the edge of the water. The depth is 0. We don't have to change anything on this screen. Press OK. And now you're ready to check your channel summary, which is the final thing that you need to do in order to make sure that you've entered all your station information correctly. So scroll down to channel summary, press OK, and first thing you'll see is area profile. All those bars are in blue, so that's good. Press OK to continue. Now you'll see your velocity profile. It's all in blue as well, which is good. So press OK to continue. And the last thing you will see is your discharge profile. This is all in green and yellow, which is good. That means that all your stations have a flow or a discharge of below 10%, which is what we want to achieve. If your flow is not below 10%, you can go back and divide 2 sections in 2 so that you'll get a smaller discharge. Or you can wait till the next time you take a measurement and divide into smaller subsections or smaller stations. Okay, so now we're ready to save the data and exit. This is very important. If you turn off your flow meter before you save the data, you'll not be able to resave it. You'll have to start over. So scroll down to save data and exit. Take this, backspace this name out, and type in the name of the river. I'm going to put in Ish with the date of 6/5. That tells me what river I'm on and the date. Press OK. And now I'm at the profiler menu, which I can scroll down to Files, and in Files, press OK. I will see my Ish with the date of 5/6/5 on it. If I scroll up to that and open it up, I will find my discharge. This is where you have to write all this information down on your citizen data flow sheet. So the discharge here at the Isherwood lateral was 8.653 cubic feet per second. And after you're done with that, you can turn off your machine. Okay.